I alone know the Vedas. Isn't that an interesting verse? That Krishna makes a statement there that I alone know the Vedas. So can we even know the Vedas? We can't even know it. Like it's otherworldly, it's spiritual. So knowing it with the mind is not possible. It's like trying to get to the moon in a bullock cart. Not possible. But the heart can connect with the Vedas. Heart knows the Vedas, but the mind cannot know it. Cannot know it in the traditional sense, but the heart can. And so for me, the very word Upanishad, many of us will have come across the Upanishads. There are various translations as to what Upanishad means, but essentially one is to sit near the truth, to sit near it. Upanishad, to sit close to that truth. So it will take you very close. This takes you close, it brings you close, but we can't get you there. That can only be this. So all of this spiritual practice is to calm down our wild horses of the senses and the material world and the mind and all of the family members that are causing us so much disturbance, and friends and colleagues and workplaces and bosses and all of the stuff of the world, to come back close to the heart space, which the Upanishad is sitting near that truth of Brahman, where we are close to that spiritual awareness. Upanishad is to sit near the truth. I am the maker of the Vedas and the conclusions. I alone know the Vedas. Namaste, Ram Ram. Hello, everybody. So nice to see you. We'll just give a minute or two for some late joiners to join as usual. IST, Indian Standard Time, is normally a few minutes later than usual. And I hope you're all doing well. Hope you've had a good week. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As I do every week, I swing back a few verses, like the ripples of the tide going back in the ocean. And today, I'm just going back to touch on one verse, and then we get back to chapter 14 towards the end, and we'll probably get close to finishing chapter 14 today. But the verse that I've been contemplating today is something we spoke about last week, and it is verse 28 of chapter 13. Seeing the same Lord. Okay, maybe I'll go to 27 and then 28. The same Lord abiding equally in all living beings is neither destroyed when they are destroyed. One who perceives this truly sees. Okay, and now it's the teaching. Seeing the same Lord, seeing God, seeing divinity within every living being, one ceases to harm oneself by the mind. One then goes on to the supreme destination, which is Brahman. Seeing the same Lord in every living being, we cease to harm our own selves. What is it saying? Like, if I see God in you and you see God in me, then we don't harm ourselves. We don't harm each other. But otherwise, if we don't see that, we are harming ourselves. And that's the Maharaj's love all, feed all, serve all, help each other, be kind, be loving, be a good person. So that was really, for me, something that I've been thinking about today, because it's really the Bhagavad Gita's message that the true view is the one where we see God within everyone. That's the goal, the real goal. Just to reflect on that a little bit before we proceed. I had some conversation with a friend earlier today, and they've been struggling with a family member. And, finding it difficult because we obviously love our family, we're very close to our families, but then we get someone who's being, perhaps not treating us well or not, acting in a good way. And that can really affect our minds, that can affect our state of mind, it can affect our life, our well-being. And then how do we respond to such a situation from the Bhagavad Gita's perspective, from Maharaji perspective? The first thing is obviously we should be protected, that we should be safe, that we should be, situated within our own heart. But then the same thing is to maintain a sense of love, not necessarily for what that person is doing, but because love is the only truth. And ultimately, it's all happening within the body of God. And it's all just occurring. So to kind of help us to take that removed view. And that there's a beautiful line I shared with our teams earlier this week. And it's Ram Dass. I shared it with my children. I probably read it 15 times this last few days. And Ram Dass said, you can take it all in a heavy way. Like all of this work that we have to do, you can carry it all as a weight and do it all in a heavy way. Like, oh, I've got this to do. There's so much to do. I've got to do this, or this person's doing this to me. And, that's a heavy load that I have to carry. And, this is this kind of thing. Or you can just see it all as part of the song and dance and the leela that's just happening. Like the Shiva Tandana and the position of that Murti, which is just there, and the whole universe is kind of just flowing. Just see it all. And I think if we operate from a place at the top of the water where there's lots of ripples, lots of waves, lots of things happening on, then we also get thrown around. But if we go deep into the ocean and into our own hearts and then have that stability, then the movements of all of these things don't affect us so much. So I really, really feel that that's something truly important. And just as I look up and I look at this verse that we've gone through last time in chapter 14 of the Gunas, one who remains fixed and unshaken, sama dukkha sukha, the unshaken, who is equal in distress and happiness, self-situated, swastaha, and for whom a lump of earth and a stone or gold are equal, to whom the beloved or unbeloved are the same, who is fixed and equal in blame or praise, who is equal in honor or dishonor, and to both friends and enemies alike, who renounce the results of all undertakings. Such a person is said to have transcended the three gunas. And if we remember the three gunas which we explored last week, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. There's the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. But we want to transcend the gunas and be one with God. That person who serves me with unalloyed love, with unfailing devotion, transcending the gunas, is fit for the condition of Brahman. There we go. If you can have love for God, Maharaji said nothing is permanent except love for God in this world. The only thing that is permanent is love for God. That's really something that I often remember. For I am the foundation of Brahman. So in verse 26, Krishna says, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, that one will be fit for the condition of Brahman. And then the very next sentence he says, Brahmano hi pratistatham, I am the foundation of Brahman. So you will be fit for the condition of Brahman, which is Krishna, which is immortal and imperishable, and which is the basis of the eternal Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma. and perfect happiness. Chapter 14 completed. We'll make a start on chapter 15. And it's nature of God. Now, like we've spent time knowing the field and the knower of the field. Well, first we had bhakti in chapter 12. Then we had in chapter 13 field and knower of the field. And then chapter 14, we've explored the gunas, material nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and how everything we do, the way we speak, the way we act, the way we eat, the way we treat other living beings, the way we work, the kind of occupation we choose, the kind of way we choose to live in the world, whether it's sattva, rajas, and tamas. And now we go on to the nature of God. Okay. Krishna says there is said to be an imperishable Ashwatha tree. So, what is the Ashwatha tree? It's a famous people tree, the sacred fig that is revered throughout Hinduism. It is known as the bow tree of enlightenment, and that is famous as a tree under which Siddhartha Gautama attained enlightenment to become the Buddha. The Ashwatha is not to be confused with the banyan tree, which is a member of the same botanical family. Like the banyan tree, the roots of the Ashwatha tree can grow from its branches. A similar analogy of the cosmic people tree is found in the Katha Upanishad, the Taittiriya Upanishad, and the earliest reference to this tree, this example that we beautiful tree. You know, the example of the tree grows out, and from a branch more grows and more grows and more grows as that continues to go on. The earliest reference to this cosmic tree, Alice, you might be able to find in your Rig Veda, is in 1.24.7. So you can feel that this is a very ancient idea. And there's a beautiful tree. For those of you who are coming to India with me in October, Kakrigat at Neem Karoli Baba and the ashram at Kakrigat. There's a beautiful people tree, and under that tree we sit and do kirtan and chant and meditate. It's a place where Sombari Maharaj also used to meditate. Absolutely incredible place. There is an imperishable tree with its roots upwards and its branches downwards. Its leaves are the Vedic hymns, the Vedic verses. One who understands this tree is the knower of the Veda. Yastam Veda Savedat Ved. You can see a very Vedic approach to that verse. The branches of the tree extend both downwards and upwards, and they are nourished by the three gunas. Its shoots are the sense objects. Its roots that spread downward into this world are the cause of all action. The true form of this tree, from its beginning to its end, cannot be perceived in this world. Oh, this sacred Ashwatha, with its firmly grown root, should be cut down by the perfect weapon, the powerful weapon of detachment. That place must be sought from which, having once gone, one never returns. I therefore surrender unto that original person from whom this ancient creation has issued forth. Those who are without pride or illusion, who have overcome the evils of attachment, ever fixed in the soul, whose desires have been stopped, and who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, undiluted, they go to the imperishable place. Padam avyayam, the imperishable place, which is moksha, liberation. So So what is this tree really, and what is this analogy that we're hearing about from the Katha Upanishad, the Vedas, the Gita, very ancient, really trying to talk to us about? I think it can be looked about in a few different ways, but essentially, if you think about the shoots are the sense objects, and the roots um, spread downward are the cause of action. So when we have these senses and we have effects in the material world, what the Gita is saying is that we should cut through this with spiritual practice so that we don't continue to plant and continue to grow more and more branches of attachment into the world. And that symbol of the Buddha sitting under the tree and seeking that enlightenment while all of the karmic activity continues to happen in the world. That's the Ashwatha tree. And the leaves of the Vedas that can actually help us understand what the tree is about. Another way of looking at this tree, I often look at the banyan trees in India as the idea of reincarnation as well, and life to life that keeps flowing on. So the branches come up and they go down into the ground, and you see them come back out again. And then you see them go down again and back out again. It's truly wonderful. And you just look at that like life and say, okay, which is the first tree? Where does it go? How is it connected? And that we see the interconnectedness of all life and all beings through that example. But here it's slightly different. We're referring to it in a way that this is using the example of us in the material world and the gunas that we've been discussing earlier. So those who are without pride or illusion, who have overcome the ills of attachment, ever fixed in the soul, ever devoted to God, whose desires have been stopped, and who have been freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, undeluded, they go to the imperishable place. The sun does not illuminate my supreme abode. The sun does not illuminate my supreme abode. Dharma Paramam. Here the word Dharmam, like Padam, may be taken to an actual place or a state of being. I consider it a state of being, or the place of light, enlightenment. The sun does not illuminate that place, nor does the moon or the fire. Having once gone there, one never returns. That's beautiful. So if you take true liberation, you don't come back from that. Heavens are temporary states, but true oneness, true liberation is a permanent state, the only permanent state. Assuming a particular set of senses that include the ear, the eye, the skin, the tongue, and the nose, as well as the mind, this Lord enjoys the object of the senses. Assuming a particular set of senses that includes the ear, the eye, the skin, the tongue, and the nose, as well as the mind, the Lord enjoys the objects of the senses. The ignorant are unable to perceive how this Lord departs from the body, or how it remains within the body to enjoy in combination with the gunas. Only those with the eye of knowledge truly see. The striving yogis can see the soul situated within the body, but the foolish who are without maturity are unable to perceive it, no matter how hard they try. And these are quite complex verses, actually. Quite complex verses, but essentially, I understand that one can enjoy this world. One can enjoy the objects of the senses through not being attached to them, but just seeing it all as part of the Leela, part of God's work, and engaging in the world in a positive way, not in a world denying sense. So it's quite interesting here that assuming a particular set of senses that include the ears, the eyes, you can enjoy music, you can enjoy food, the sights of the world, the tongue, the nose, the mind. The Lord enjoys the objects of the senses. So you can use all of this. And you can enjoy that, the sweetness of it, but not be pulled away from it, not be pulled away by it. Like we've had earlier, that example of the horses of the senses that get pulled by the world. As long as we are situated in the carriage of the heart, then we don't get pulled around too much, and we can enjoy what we're taking. The foolish without maturity are unable to perceive it, no matter how hard they try. The brilliance of the sun that illuminates this entire world comes from me. Similarly, the splendor of the moon and the fire also comes from me. I enter this earth and sustain all beings by my strength. I am the moon, full of vitality that nourishes all vegetation. I am the digestive fire, the fire of digestion, situated within the body of all beings, in union with the incoming and outgoing breaths, the pranas. I digest all kinds of food. Okay, so again, here we're talking about God within all things. God within all things. And how many times have we had this example of the brilliance of the sun? Like that God is like the brilliance of the sun, but not the sun that illuminates us here on earth. Um, just the analogy that the brightness within every living thing is God. I am that brilliance. I sustain all of it. And we can really have a connection to God in that way, in that sense that that light is within our looking out of our eyes. It's not out there that we need to see it. It's that which illumines the eyes. It's not that which we hear. It's that which allows us to hear. It's not that which we think. It's that which allows us to think. It's not that act that we do, but that which allows us to act, as it said in the Kena Upanishad. It is a beautiful verse. One for the pinboard. I am situated in the hearts of all beings. Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivisto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedascha sarver aham eva vedyo vedantakrid vedavid eva chaham. I am situated in the hearts of all living beings. From me comes memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Literally, the word forgetfulness is memory being removed. I am known by all the Vedas. The Vedic conclusions, the Vedas. I am known by all of the Vedas. I am the maker of the Vedas and the conclusions of the Vedas. And I alone know the Vedas. Isn't that an interesting verse? That Krishna makes a statement there that I alone know the Vedas. So can we even know the Vedas? We can't even know it. We can't even know it. Like it's otherworldly. It's spiritual. So knowing it with the mind is not possible. It's like trying to get to the moon in a bullock cart. Not possible. But the heart can connect with the Vedas. Heart knows the Vedas, but the mind cannot know it. Cannot know it in the traditional sense, but the heart can. And so for me, the very word Upanishad, many of us will have come across the Upanishads. There are various translations as to what Upanishad means, but essentially one is to sit near the truth, to sit near it. Upanishad, to sit close to that truth. So it will take you very close. This takes you close, brings you close, but we can't get you there. That can only be this. So all of this spiritual practice is to calm down our wild horses of the senses and the material world and the mind and all of the family members that are causing us so much disturbance, and friends and colleagues and workplaces and bosses and all of the stuff of the world, to come back close to the heart space, which the Upanishad is sitting near that truth of Brahman, where we are close to that spiritual awareness. Upanishad is to sit near the truth. I am the maker of the Vedas and the conclusions. I alone know the Vedas. In this world, there are two Purushas, two beings, the changeable and the unchangeable. The changeable are living beings that inhabit this world. The unchangeable is the divinity which occupies the highest place. So again, we have that aspect of that example of the birds that I've spoken about previously. Imagine two birds. In the Upanishads, this example comes where there's one bird that's eating in the world, and it's consuming, it's enjoying, it's going here and there. But then there's another bird, the other Purusha, the bird is just sitting still. Beautiful images of this, where the bird is just sitting still and watching the other bird. And Ram Dass calls this the witness. That bird is the witness. He also said Maharaji is my doorway to Brahman. So for me to get to the supreme state, I need to transcend the material world, but Maharaji is my doorway. Since I transcend both the changeable and the unchangeable, I am therefore celebrated as the supreme Purusha in both the world and in the Vedas. In this way, one who knows me as the supreme Purusha is free of delusion and is a knower of all things. Such a person worships me with his entire being. Such a person worships me with his entire being. You know, Vedic knowledge, like we are used to knowledge in the world. We go to university to learn things. We might try to learn engineering or a subject specifically. Vedas is not like that. Upanishads is not about that kind of specific kind of knowledge about a craft or an activity. It's knowledge of the whole, of all of it. And to understand that, we can't understand with our mind. We can only go close to it. So when we talk about the conclusion of the Vedas, within the Rig Veda, we might have prayers for progeny, we might have prayers for money, we might have prayers for successful enterprise, we might have all of these things. But the Ved Anta, the end of the Vedas, like what's it ultimately all about? What is it by that all things are known? That's what Krishna is talking about here in the Gita. And he said, O sinless Arjuna, this, what I have revealed, is the most confidential science, knowing which one becomes enlightened, has accomplished everything there is to do. Guhyatman shastram idam uktam mayagna etad budva buddhidim syat krita kritascha bharata. This is Guyat, mysterious, secret science. It's about the nature of your own heart, about the universe, about enlightenment. It's that which transcends all knowledge of it's not about Ayurvedic science or medical science or kind of activity, mathematics, a subject. It's beyond that. It's beyond material science. There's spiritual science. Krishna's making that point. We're done. Are we done? Yeah. 15 chapters of Bhagavad Gita complete. Guyat, Guyataram, Mayat. This word Guyataram, supreme science. I'm going to touch on something that comes in chapter 18. And I'm going to find the verse. It's one of my favorite verses because it just comes to my mind before we pause. Let me find the verse. And it comes right at the end of the Gita. So forgive me for sharing this verse because, it's a bit of a kind of, now nobody wants to see what's going to happen next, but this verse is quite important. Guyat, when Krishna said this word mysterious, there's a verse, I'll recite it to you. Iti te jnanamakyatam guyat guyataram maya vimrisyetadase senaho yata ichasi tata kuru. Thus, Arjuna, thus I have declared to you this knowledge, which is more mysterious than any mystery. Deliberate upon it fully, and then act as you see fit. Now, I've shared that verse, and we will explore it later as well. But Guyat Guyatarama, when we're talking about a mysterious science or that which is beyond the perceivable, that which the mind cannot capture, we've got to have faith and shraddha that there is God, that there is a truth greater than our minds can conceive of. And in this verse, iti te jnanamakyatam guyat guyataram mayat vimrishyetadaseseno yatta ichasi tata kuru. He says, I have taught you this mysterious wisdom. He deliberate upon it fully. Think about all of this stuff carefully, like digest it. Think about these words. And then do whatever you want. Yata ichasi tata kuru. Some of you who understand Hindi or Gujarati might be able to kind of capture that substance. Yata ichasi tata kuru. Now, whatever your ichha is, your desire, your thing is, you do that. He doesn't say, if you don't do this, you're going to hell, my friend. He doesn't say, you have to do this, or this is the rule, and you have to follow this. He says, do whatever you want. This is how it is. It's all happening in the Leela of God anyway. Just like that verse that Ram Dass said, you can do it all as if it's heavy and hard work, or you can just do it all as it's part of the Leela and enjoy it. Krishna's going to be the same, whatever direction we take, however we move. So, okay. We can pause there. Thank you, everyone. Much love to all. See you next week. We'll be in chapter 16. Ram Ram. Bye-bye. Much love.